Oh, I'm filled with instant regret. I look like Topanga Lawrence. What was I thinking? This is like the worst form of self-sabotage. Why did I decide to blow dry my hair? Hi everyone, welcome back to What's Sewing On. I am doing something very different this week, and you probably saw by the title, I am wearing my corset every day this week and letting you know basically how it goes while I'm doing things. So just as a disclaimer before I start, I just wanted to let you know I am wearing my Regency short stays that I made a few weeks ago, but it's just way easier to say corset than Regency short stays. And also our mutual friend YouTube and its little buddy, the algorithm, absolutely love the term corset, so I'm just going to be using that term instead of the actual term it should be called. Forgive me. So this idea has been basically floating around for a little while, and I finally decided to do it because there was a moment a few weeks back when I said something along the lines of, no wonder they have perfect posture. I have so many layers that I don't even think I could bend if I wanted to. Maybe I need to wear this more often. So I thought, like, why not just do that? And two, there is a great collaboration starting up called Corsetryinmotion. Basically, a bunch of costumers are getting together, putting on their stays and their corsets, and then just doing things. Both of those thoughts were kind of perfect because C, I ended up hurting my shoulder, and I thought giving myself a little bit of a break from sewing and all the repetitive motion would probably be a good idea for me. So it kind of all just went together. I get to be a part of this collaboration, give myself a little bit of a break, and also four, I have a really long to-do list, and I thought this would be the perfect opportunity to trick myself into getting everything done in 1 week while filming myself for YouTube. So it basically all blends together really well, which is why I decided to do that this week. So I decided not to label, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, because basically I was going to be filming 1 or 2 tasks every day. I wasn't going to be filming the whole day because that would just be way too boring and way too long. So instead, I just took my to-do list, spread it out over 7 days, and every day I film myself doing 1 or 2 of those tasks. That being said, I did put on the corset every morning as soon as I got up, and I usually took it off between 7:30 and 9 p.m. every evening. So I did wear that corset for a very good chunk of my whole day. I did film a bunch of after the end of the days how I felt videos, but again, they were very much the same every single time. So instead, I took a few notes from those videos, and I'm just going to give you a nice pleasant voiceover while you're watching the time lapse of me doing things. So my week started actually on a Saturday, on the sunny day of Miss Havisham, and I basically just did all of my reveal shots and the thumbnail shots and everything I needed for that day in the morning. And then as I started cleaning, I decided to also clean my bookshelves. And then for some reason, I decided to tackle the 4 bags of sewing notions that I've collected while thrifting for the past year. And I decided to sort those all out, put them where they need to go, and basically just organize it so I know exactly what I have. So thoughts on day 1? It honestly wasn't that bad. I didn't even really notice it. I also kind of cheated on this day because I didn't really put on normal clothes after I took off the Miss Havisham gown. I was just wearing sweatpants and basically a robe. So it didn't really change my appearance in any way at all because I wasn't wearing normal clothes. So on my next day of doing my gloomy day of Miss Havisham, I decided to have a lazy afternoon. So I did some laundry and then I played some video games. For this day, I just decided to wear some leggings and a hoodie. You can definitely see that I'm wearing something around my bust area, and it's not something I would normally wear whenever I was just relaxing. While I was doing laundry, I could definitely feel that I was wearing the corset, but I didn't find that there was any issue at all. Playing video games is a whole other story. Normally, I'm a lot more relaxed, but while I was playing, I had to sit up more straight, and I constantly had to adjust because I did find that the bust plate was digging into my stomach. So for this look, I definitely found that you could see, at least around the bust, that I was wearing different types of undergarments, but for the most part, it wasn't that noticeable. I also discovered I have way more fabric than I thought I had, so I'm really happy I organized it. I ended up making a list of everything in each tub, so I have 3 tubs of fabric. So now I won't have to go looking for things, so I'm really happy I did that task. And sitting down on the floor, bending, folding, sweeping, I didn't notice a difference at all, and everything went pretty smoothly. So again, after this task, I didn't really notice anything other than obviously the bust plate. There was a little sensitivity around my abdomen. But again, that's just because my posture isn't that great. Up next was working on a computer for almost 8 hours in the morning. So for this day, because I was just going to be sitting at the computer all day, I just wore a tank top underneath my corset, and I wore a flowy blouse over top and some leggings. I did notice that you could see a little bit of the bust area again through the material, but for the most part, it wasn't that bad, and I was pretty comfortable all day. So again, for this task, completely doable to sit at a computer all day long wearing a short stay corset. It was a little uncomfortable because the bust plate was digging into my abdomen when I was hunched over, so that is my fault. But once I corrected my posture, again, didn't really feel it that much, but on day 3 of it pushing into the same spot, I was noticing that I had a little bit of sensitivity in the one spot on my abdomen. You tell that garbage man. So next up is taking Farley for a walk. Can't say that too loud because he's probably now thinking he's gonna go for another one. So we went on about an hour and a half walk, and honestly, throughout the whole walk, I didn't even remember I was wearing the stays. So yeah, after that, really nothing to mention. I completely forgot I was even wearing the stays underneath my coat. The walk was very comfortable and I didn't even notice it. Next up, vacuuming. So for my next task, I basically just made dinner. For this look, I was just wearing a tank top underneath my corset. Then I had a blouse with a high-waisted skirt and a cardigan over top. For this dinner, I decided to make a soup because there is a little bit more prep work and I am kind of constantly standing near the stove at all times. I swear I'm not crying because of the stays. So I was standing for about an hour and a half, and again, I had absolutely zero issues wearing this corset. And for my last task, I basically combined 2. I shoveled and I also trimmed Farley. On this particular evening, we had a little bit of a snowfall, so I did have to shovel the front walk and the driveway. Wait, am I actually saying that I shoveled the driveway and not that the neighbor just snowblowed it for me? So these 2 things were actually really easy to do. I didn't find that shoveling or trimming Farley being hunched over, like it still was a little uncomfortable because again, it's just that bust plate, but everything else was really fine. All in all, there's only a few things that I really can take away from this whole week. The first is I didn't really like the look of the Regency stays underneath my normal clothing. It bunched up around the bust area, which I didn't really like the look of that, and I had a really hard time trying to layer my outfits because you are supposed to be wearing a chemise underneath it, and I know that this is hard to wash. So I don't really own a lot of tank tops, long sleeve, those type of shirts, so just to layer that on every single day and try to match it with my outfit is not something I normally do, because normally I just wear a sleeveless dress or a t-shirt dress or whatever kind of dress with a cardigan over top. But with wearing this, I had to wear a long sleeve or t-shirt or something underneath it, and I just found it was more layers, so I was warmer, and also again matching coloring, all that kind of thing. It took a little bit of extra work. My mornings when I started out the first 2 or 3 days, it took me about 10 to 15 minutes to lace it up properly. By the end of the week, it was 5 minutes. I was in that thing. I was already good to go. So you definitely get used to the lace up part, even just blind behind your back doing it with my left hand. I had absolutely no problems with that by the end of the week. It was actually surprising how quickly I got used to doing it. And the other thing was the bust plate. And again, I think I kind of cheated by wearing Regency stays and I wasn't wearing a full torso corset or stay, but the Regency one, obviously the bust plate dug into the same spot every day because of my poor posture. So it's really my own fault, but the only thing is I do have a little bit of sensitivity right here where the bust plate kind of dug into. And again, that's only to show that my posture is terrible and I probably should fix that. Did I notice a difference between it and a bra? Not really, and I think it's because obviously it has straps, so it's very similar style to a bralette. So I didn't really notice that much of a difference from day to day other than the shape of my clothing. I do want to try a full torso, different kind of era corset eventually. I think that would be pretty cool and it would give me a different feel on what a day would be like in that type of a corset. So all in all, you can definitely wear Regency short stays in your day-to-day life if you really want to. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like and I hope you subscribe. I will see everybody on Monday for my next video. Ew. Just ripped out my hair. Blech. To make a stew. For this dinner, I decided to make a stew. Oh, why did I do this to myself? Hi everyone.